Number 71. Use scientific exponential notation to express the following quantities in terms of their SI base units in table 1.3. Okay, and I have A through I here, so I'm just going to write out the alphabet here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and then I'll put I over here. Okay. All right, so there's going to be a lot in this question, so I'm going to try to do it rather quickly to keep you guys engaged. So if you guys are new to exponential notation base units, go back and see the previous questions in this chapter because I go into depth into that. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first thing we need to know is we need to know our SI base units, right? That's going to be just the meter, the liter, the gram. Another SI base unit could be seconds, Kelvin, basically anything that does not have a prefix in front of it. And what do I mean by prefix? It's these guys over here. So for example, millimeter would not be a base unit because it has the lowercase m, milli, in front of the meter. So anytime that you see a prefix in front of the word, it is not a base unit. You have to convert to the base units. And they want everything in scientific or exponential notation, which is great. And they all want it in base units. So let's get into it. A, we have 0.13 grams. Okay, well, I see grams already. That is a base unit. So in this case, we don't have to convert, and I'm just going to say BU for base unit. So this is already in a base unit, so we don't have to convert to a base unit, but we need to put it in scientific notation. So we know how to do this, guys, right? So I'm moving the decimal over this part here. I moved it over 1, bunny hop 1, so 1.3 times 10 to the 1, and it's a negative 1 because the number that we started with was less than 1. So this would just be 1.3 times 10 to the negative 1 grams. Box that answer off. That's the answer to A. But now probably for all of these, we're going to have to convert. So let's see. A is done. Now we got 232 gigagrams. Notice how I say gigagrams, right? Giga is the prefix. So I have to convert gigagrams into the base unit, which is just grams. So now I'm going to use my common unit prefixes. So let's start converting. We don't want gigagram. That goes on the bottom, the opposite side, and we always multiply by that ratio. You'll see that through this whole question. And grams goes up on top, the base unit. They have to match. So if you're talking about grams on the bottom, grams have to be on the top. If it's liters on the bottom, it's liters on the top. So they have to match. Now I'm just going to get the giga here, which is this guy. And just know when you're using this conversion factor, or these prefixes, which you should memorize, all right? So there are some things in chemistry that you got to memorize. I would memorize this chart and how to use it. So just know that all your prefixes are going with the number 1. These factor numbers go with your base unit, so I'll just put BU. So whether it's 10 to the negative 15th, 10 to the negative 12th, etc., those always go with your base unit. Your prefix will always get the number 1. So between these, gigagram is my prefix. The prefix is giga. So I have 1 gigagram, which equals 10 to the negative 9th. So that's what I'm going to put up here, 10 to the negative 9th. And gigagrams cancel out. I'm going to do the math. So 232 times 10 to the 9th. And I have to put this in scientific notation. And with big numbers, your calculator, especially if you're using a TI-84 or higher, it will put it in scientific notation for you already. So this one would be 2.32 times 10 to the 11th grams. And sig figs, there's 3 sig figs here, the 2, 3, and the 2. So there's got to be 3 sig figs in the answer, which there are, the 2, 3, and the 2. So box it off, that's the answer to B. Moving on. 5.23. Picometer. There we go. We got a prefix, so we got to convert it to its base unit, which is now going to be the meter. Not gram anymore. You got to follow what is in here. So multiply by that ratio. Picometer goes on the bottom because it goes on the opposite side. Meters goes up on top. And now let's find the conversion. Pico is right here. The prefix pico gets the number 1, so 1 picometer. And this number, 10 to the negative 12th, goes with the meter, 10 to the negative 12th. Picometer says bye-bye. And now we just have to multiply and get the right answer. In this case, it would be 5.23 times 10 to the negative 12th meters. It's in scientific notation. There you go. Letter D. 86.3 milligrams. Well, we got a prefix, milli, so we got to convert it to just the gram, which is the base unit. So multiply by that ratio. Milligram goes on the opposite side. Your base unit will go on the other side, so grams. And now let's find it. Milli is right here. If you're using this, milli gets the number 1, so 1 milligram. And this number goes with the base unit, 10 to the negative 3. Milli cancels out, because we can cancel out the same units that are on opposite sides. And we're left with our base unit, so now we got to do is just calculate. So 86.3 times 10 to the negative 3. I get, now this one might not come out in scientific notation, so I get 0.0863 grams, but let's just convert it. You want the decimal to be right after the non-zero, so between the 8 and the 6, so you move it twice. So it would be 8.63 times 10 to the 2, because you bunny hopped 2 times. And since this number that you started with was less than 1, it would be negative 2 grams. Box it off. That's the answer for D. And we are flying. This is awesome. Next one, 37.6 centimeters. So we need to convert from centimeter to the base unit would be meters in this case. So multiply by that ratio. Centimeters goes on the opposite side. Meters goes up on top. And do you see the flow that I keep doing? I always do multiply. Then I always write this ratio. Then I take this and I always drop it down. It becomes like muscle memory, guys. So just keep trying and trying. You'll get it. All right, so now we got to find where centi is. Centi's over here. And since centi is the prefix gets the number 1. And 10 to the negative 2 goes with the base unit. In this case, it would be the meter. So centis cancel out, centimeter cancels out, and we just do the math. 37.6 times 10 to the negative 2, which this one is 0.376 meters, but we got to put it into scientific notation. So we move the decimal over to this spot. That's 1. So 3.76 times 10 to the 1. But since this number was less than 1, it would be a negative 1. So 3.76 times 10 to the negative 1 meters. Okay. Next one. 54 micrometers. So micro is the prefix. We got to convert to just the base unit, which would be the meter. So multiply, ratio, put that old unit on the opposite side. We're looking for the base unit, which is meter. And now we just got to find where it's at. Micro is here. Micro is the prefix, so that gets the number 1. And then the other number, 10 to the negative 6, goes with the meter. Micro, meter cancels out. They're the same. So then 54 times 10 to the negative 6 is 5.4 times 10 to the negative 5th meters. Box that answer off, and it has the same number of sig figs as in the beginning of the problem, aka what was given, the 5 and the 4. And there's 2 sig figs in your answer, so that one's awesome. Box that off. G, 1 terasecond. Okay, so in this case, we got to go to the correct SI unit, which is seconds. That's the base unit here. And just remember that seconds is an SI unit, and it is a base unit. So it doesn't have to just be meter, liter, or gram. It could be seconds as well. But I'm going to do my same muscle memory times by that ratio. I don't want teraseconds anymore, that goes in the bottom. I want just seconds, and now we just got to find it on the sheet, or on the table. Tera's right here, and tera is the prefix, so 1 terasecond equals 10 to the negative 12th seconds. So teraseconds cancels out, and we just multiply across. So it'd be 1 times 10 to the negative 12th seconds. Box that answer off. You got 1 sig fig. You had 1 sig fig, so that one's good. Next one, 27 picoseconds. And through practice, you will know your symbols with your prefixes. So how I can just see that this is picoseconds because I know that lowercase p is pico. So it just takes some time. But anyway, got to get to the base. So this one, we got to go to seconds. So times ratio, picosecond on the bottom, seconds up on top. We already highlighted it from before. So pico, that's the prefix, so it's number 1. You have 1 picosecond, and that equals to 10 to the negative 12th seconds. Cross off picoseconds, multiply the tops, and you will get your answer. So 27 times 10 to the negative 12th is 2.7, because we need it in scientific notation. 2.7 times 10 to the negative 11th seconds. Box that off. That's the answer for H. We are almost there. Last one. 0.15 millikelvin. Crazy. But the base unit for here would just be the capital K, which is Kelvin. It's a temperature unit. So, just like before, now I'm just going to erase this just so I have a little bit of room here. So, times by that ratio. Millikelvin goes on the bottom, Kelvin up on top. Milli is the prefix, so that gets the number 1. You have 1 millikelvin, which equals to, we already highlighted it from before, which is here, 10 to the negative 3 Kelvin. Millikelvin cancels out, and you just do your math. So 0.15 times 10 to the negative 3, which is 1.5 times 10 to the negative 4th Kelvin. Really, 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 really small number for Kelvin. Remember, on a side note, there are no negative for Kelvin temperature values. So if you get a negative for a temperature for Kelvin, it doesn't exist. Absolute 0 is the lowest possible temperature that can be reached. So no negatives. So if you got a negative from here or in any, question for Kelvin, go back and check it. Okay, so these are all of your answers, A through I. Let me check this off because I like to make everything look complete. And that's it, guys. Hopefully this helped. If it did, tell us about it. Give us a comment. Like the video. Write us a little... I just said write us a comment, but that's okay. Anyway, I'll see you guys all in the next question. See you later. Bye-bye.